Greetings everybody, welcome back to my channel. I'm Kaiwaza or John, and I've been away for a little while on a trip, and I haven't done a video in but I don't know, 10 days or something longer than that. Anyway, time to play catch up, and let's continue on our journey through my Hawaiian record collection. All vinyl. I forgot to randomly select a letter to start on this time in my last video, so I did it just before this one, and the letter that I selected randomly was W, and I'm excited about that because there's lots and lots of records under W, and there are a lot of artists I really like that fall under the letter W. So let's get started with that right away. And first up today is an Australian album called Hawaiian Paradise by Johnny Wade and his Hawaiians. This is on the Australian Columbia label. I don't know the year on this, but there is Mr. Johnny Wade, singer, orchestra leader. It says here, his show, Johnny Wade and his Hawaiians, is still running regularly over the Australian Broadcasting Network, and he started a television feature, Hawaiian Holiday, for ABN Channel 2. And this is sort of standard Hawaiian tunes and kind of a standard orchestral singer Hawaiian way. Next up, this album is called Polynesian Interlude, featuring a very short grass shack. I don't know what the story is with that. This is on Soundscape Records, not familiar with them. Arranged and conducted by Fred Barovic, featuring Al Wagner and the Philharmonic Strings. This has some standard tunes and then quite a few original compositions on here. Aloha to You, Iolani, Beautiful Lagoon, Avarua, Dreaming Hawaii, Samoa, yada yada yada, yada yada yada. A lot of original songs, actually. My personal story about this record is I used to be a program director, weekend DJ and program director at KCCN AM back in the 80s when it was all Hawaiian and the only Hawaiian station in Honolulu. That was all Hawaiian. And they had this record, but not to play. They had it in the production studio. So, because it wasn't the kind of music you would really play on a Hawaiian station in Hawaii, but because it's very orchestral and easy listening. And they had it in the production studio to use for commercials and whatnot. And that was where I first saw it, although they had it with a different cover on it. And I have to tell you, I was tempted to steal it because I knew that nobody was really using it. They would never miss it, and it was very tempting. But I didn't, and years later I did find it somewhere. I think this was online, probably eBay. Polynesian Interlude. Next up we have the Waikiki Hawaiians at the Waikiki Resort Village in Hilo, Hawaii. Dreams of Old Hawaii. Now, if you're into, the actual sort of native music of the islands, by the way, this is on the Music of Polynesia label. The lead artist here is Bunny Brown, and that would be a familiar name. He was one of the members of the original Hilo Hawaiians who recorded albums locally and on Decca Records, and then I guess later he had this group. Now, Waikiki Hawaiians, not surprisingly, I guess this is their only album that I'm aware of, and they are the performers at the Waikiki Village Resort in Hilo, and says here their picture, that's them performing at the beautiful Kupuna Dining Room, home of the Waikiki Hawaiians. If you're familiar with the Hilo Hawaiians, these guys sound basically the same. That's just kind of the style that Bunny Brown continued with. It's not focusing on these titles at all, but Sweet Someone, Kanaka Vai Vai, Kaulana Ohilo Hanakahi, a lot of well-known Hawaiian chestnuts on that. Here is an album by the Waiehu Sons, and it is called Waiehu. Not an album you come across very often. It doesn't have the date on it, but I think this is early 80s. It doesn't even have a label really named on it. Well, WS Productions, but this is a very nice album. What's interesting about these guys, though, I have to say, is they did another album. I think it was before, it may have been before this one or after. I'm not really sure. I do not have it, and the reason that I don't have it, although I am familiar with it, is because it sells for like absolutely crazy amounts whenever I see it either in a store. Well, I really never see it in a store, or on eBay is about the only place I've seen it. Somebody, in fact, right now has it going for $499. That's their bid. I mean, it's been relisted several times, but that's kind of a joke. I mean, you have to be kidding me. I know that the other album is, you know, not commonly seen, but I mean, there's no way. Who would pay $500, $499 for it? What's interesting about the other album, though, is there is a song on it called Ka'ulu Wehi o Kekai, and many years later, a group that was quite popular in the 80s or 90s, called Hapa, re-recorded that song Ka'ulu Wehi o Kekai. But the thing is, these guys, in my understanding, sued them, or there was some sort of lawsuit or whatever, that they lifted the arrangement from the Waiehu Sons. And the Hapa version of the Hapa version of that song was very popular. It was a huge hit. So, and the fact is, yes, if you hear the version that these guys did in the 80s, the version that Hapa did is really exactly like it. It really is. I mean, I have to say, yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. All right. But I'm not sure whether they won that lawsuit or not, though. You know how these things go. Next up, this might be kind of the last group we do today, the Waikiki Beach Boys. These guys actually record out of the UK. This is the album Breeze of Hawaii. This is not their first album, but it's the first album I ever came across. I got this, I think, either when I went on that trip to New York when I was like in college, or I may have gotten it on a shopping trip in Charlotte when I was a little bit younger. I don't remember. I've always loved this cover. Yeah. And some songs on this one, I really like this album. I mean, it's emotional connection because I grew up with it, but I really do like it. Poinciana, Hilo Kiss is a really nice arrangement. Menehune March, Breeze of Hawaii, Hawaiian War Chant is a little bit different on this album than on most. So I really enjoyed this album. And then I came across some other ones by them. Aloha Hawaii by the Waikiki Beach Boys. And by the way, these are on the Fiesta label. Fiesta would take, in many situations, recordings from overseas, like these ones were from the UK, and reissue them for an American audience. This is where I first came across the song Tiger Shark, which I had not heard before and wasn't familiar with. And it's not done by Hawaiian artists or American artists very often. It's actually known in Europe and written in Europe and performed by a lot of steel guitar artists in Europe. But I really like it, and this was the first time I ran across it. Hawaiian Cha-Cha-Cha is a great song, too. Then there's a few more albums by them I've come across. Song of the Islands by the Waikiki Beach Boys. This was released also with the exact same cover, I think in the UK, as Hawaiian Wedding Song, but exactly the same cover, same album. It was about at this point I was realizing that they sound very similar in all of their albums, and this steel guitarist, whose name escapes me at the moment, is very identifiable. When I hear his playing, you really can, you know, you go, oh, yeah, that's that guy. Hawaii Tattoo is on this album. Ports of Paradise. Then it's probably my least favorite album by them, South Sea Island Magic. I don't know. It's similar to the other ones, but I just felt like at this point, like, wow, there's really nothing interesting going on here, really. And then for me, the last album I've gotten by them, which I think is the only other one, they completely redeemed themselves for me. This is, as was the one before, an British release, Music for Pleasure, MFP. Hawaii Calls by the Waikiki Beach Boys. This one had lots of songs that I really enjoyed, and I felt the arrangement suited their playing much better. Hawaiian Hotel March, Beautiful Morea, March to Diamond Head, Tamure, My Island Paradise, Mamula Moon. Lots of nice songs on here with nice arrangements. Finally, I'm going to stop today with one more album, because there's just so much stuff in W that I love. This is from Hawaii with Love. This was actually probably the first LP I bought when I moved to Hawaii in 1981. I went to Sears, and I bought this record because I knew it would be like Hawaiian steel guitar stuff. It's by the Waikiki Guitar Group, they call themselves, but it is actually Harry Hugassian, who recorded out of France, was an Armenian Greek steel guitar artist who recorded out of France. Lots and lots of records under his name, but this one was one that they did, and has been released under his name and other names, whatever. This is a 1979 Budget Request label, and it's music by Harry Hugassian. I really like it, love this style of playing. Very SpongeBob SquarePants. Yeah. So let's listen to some samples.
Along the beach at Waikiki, a fair Wahine is waiting for me. With her dark eyes and lovable charms, and very sweet Hawaiian hospitality.
Well, I hope you enjoyed that, and I invite you to join me next time as we continue through more Hawaiian records in the letter W. If you like this music, I invite you to tune into my other YouTube channel called Hawaiian Leisure Hour, where we play selections from my Hawaiian record collection. Also on 8tracks.com, you can look up Hawaiian Leisure Hour, and there I have curated playlists of Hawaiian music and some other music as well. Thank you again. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you want to see more, and we will see you next time.